Good morning, happy Friday, and welcome into the number one Group of Five college football podcast ever. This is the Group of Five guys, and our mission is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs, the voice that the mainstream sports media absolutely refuses to be. We need your help to do that. We need you to follow us on all the social platforms at Group of Five guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your best podcasts. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a 5-star rating, leave a comment, leave a review. Most importantly, tell your family and friends all about us. Or you can download the Varsity app for free. Listen to the show on there. Or you can go to groupof5guys.com and get you some Group of Five Guys merch. On this episode, we're going to talk about the hot topic of gatekeeping fans. Who should you be a fan of? Why you should be a fan? Should be very interesting. And then we're going to talk about the Thursday night game between Marshall and Georgia State, talk about the Conference USA games from Wednesday night, and then we're going to preview Friday and Saturday. Hope you enjoy the show. Have you had it from somebody born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana, at a tailgate? Doubt it.
I said Michael Pratt has got to show up and play. And boy, did he. 394 yards, 4 touchdowns, 48 rushing yards on the ground, and another touchdown.
Projected getting drafted between the first and third round. That's incredible. The wide receivers are absolutely stacked for the Group of Five.
Yeah, I really appreciate you do for the Group of Five programs. And I think it's great. I think we should get more of this. But you guys are on the forefront of this. And
so I'm thankful for this. I'm glad that you're talking about the Group of Five because I think they get overlooked.
But it's a ton of fun to watch a guy go to the NFL from a Nevada or a Colorado State or a Middle Tennessee or an App State, and fans follow that kid.
Man, Jeff, don't you just wake up on a Friday morning just feeling a little more energized, a little more buzz in the air? You got great football. You got Mountain West football Friday night. You got a great slate of games on Saturday. I mean, it's weird how the body can just tell that you got a good couple days ahead of you.
No doubt. I mean, there's nothing better than this time of year. The fall weather is here. It's nice and cool outside. You got, sunny and 70 during the day. Sun goes down, you're in the 50s, bonfire weather, football, smoking meat, drinking Deca Gray coffee. Gotta fuel.
Cheers, my friend. Look at that coffee cup.
If that's not a little kumza, I haven't seen one.
This is a direct purchase from, I believe, it's from one of those truck stops when you get into the state of Florida. And they got all the shot glasses and all the certain things. They sometimes have live alligators. They just give you all the stereotypical things from the state of Florida and put it all in a truck stop. I had to make the purchase, Jeff. I had to do it. I have a Georgia one. But this one's got, this is like gator, kind of a gator print.
I was wondering what that was at the top.
On the lip there and in the palm trees, of course. But you guys know the deal. Look, Deca Gray Coffee Company supporting the Group of Five guys now this season and beyond. Visit decagray.com. They've got the Group of Five guys game day dark roast. I got my pumpkin space I talked about on the last episode. Pumpkin spice flavored, smell makes the whole house smell like fall, like pumpkins, like football season, like Halloween, like all the things that your wife likes. And you are supporting a Group of Five guys and a great college football podcast. So make sure you visit decagray.com and use our promo code GOFG for 10% off and free shipping. Guys, we had
I do want to add something to that because I meant to say it last show when Joe Judkins called in. And Joe, I will send you the link. He said he wishes they had Keurig. Guys, they make reusable, washable, dishwasher-safe Keurig pods. You just put the coffee grounds in, close the lid, put it in there, and it works just like a pod. So go check those out. And I think they're like $10 on Amazon. And I think they have them at Walgreens too. So go look out for those. Don't let that stop you from ordering the best coffee today on the market.
And I will give a bit of a cautionary tale on that. There's different size of those, I believe,
Okay.
Jeff.
Okay.
So you do have to make sure it's going to fit your one, because we made that mistake at one point, and it maybe I could be
Sounds
user
like user error.
Very possible, Jeff. As you know, anything that has a plug and an electric outlet is not something that I'm good with. So, but yes, they do have those. Anyway, guys, we had a heck of a time last night. We got to hang out virtually, of course, with Liberty head coach Jamie Chadwell. So I would tell you that interview, he was one of the we've had a lot of coaches on here, and he was one of the best interviewees that I felt like we've had. He had some great answers, specific to what some of the challenges with the scheduling and being at Liberty and being a Christian institution, and having higher expectations both on and off the field, and then more scrutiny from you people that don't like Liberty. so really a fun interview, man. Check that out. It's available on YouTube. It's on Twitter, Facebook, all the things, but go check out the YouTube link. We'll post that on our socials here later today. And then coming up, working on a real good one, trying to climb the authority ladder in the group of five right now, but we're working on scheduling, getting the American Conference Commissioner, Tim Pernetti, to come hang out with us. That should be real good. Talk about this conference realignment deal. Really exciting stuff.
Yeah. Appreciate Coach Chadwell coming on, spending some time with us. Awesome dude. I mean, you hear certain things through the media and through different channels, and I didn't get the vibe of any of the things that I heard. But yeah, definitely go check that out. Here's a little clip from last night's interview.
Coach, what do you attribute that to? We always post polls and stuff on Twitter. What would draw a crowd? And everybody says, cheap beer, free beer, quit playing on Tuesdays, or all these traditions and all this stuff. And then you, winning, of course. And you guys have done that, certainly. But it's like, Liberty.
It's not
Christian
cheap beer.
School,
I can tell you that.
You're not. Nobody's. At least theoretically, nobody's drinking. You're playing on weeknights. You're playing maybe not as big a brand name opponents all the time, but yet they're still there and they're still staying. And I mean, it really is amazing.
Yeah, it is. I would say two things. I would say, one, the people that graduate from here, they have a unwavering loyalty to Liberty and what it's about and what it did for them. And so that's one, as far as the people that come back. Two, there is an alignment from the administration, that from faculty, from staff, all the way down, that sports are an important part of the university and what the university is about. That's been from the founders get-go. One of his things was athletics is a gateway or a front door to helping the university grow, and that was something that was important to him. And for everybody that's came after him, that importance has been the same, as far as athletics is a big piece of that. And so when you have faculty, when you have staff and administration aligned with that, and then that trickles down to your student body. Hey, what do you do? We teach you the cheers. You go to the games, you show up, you cheer, you go loud. And that is something that I felt when I got here, and I'm going to some different things. I mean, the student, they're excited about it. They know about you. They know about who your wife's name is. They know about your players. Like it's a big deal. It's important to them.
Yeah, and go check the entire interview out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. There's the audio version on your podcast platform. So,
Jeff, I'm starting to think we know what we're talking about a little bit.
Maybe just a little bit. Maybe a little bit.
The one thing that is the challenging part, the alignment part, I mean, that's up to those people to do that, and it's up to the board of regents and those kind of things to hire the right people and put the right people in place. But the appreciative of what the university did. It's funny, man, because on the outside, everybody has all this negative thoughts on Liberty. But like we've always said, when you go there and spend some time, you have a great time, man. And it's great people. And the students that are there, they love it. and they appreciate it. And that's what he said, man. They appreciate what that university did for them. And that's what we always say, right? We got this topic of gatekeeping fans and who you should be a fan of. And everybody gets all up in arms like, oh, it was my childhood. And my dad, my grandpa did this. And, it's this and that. And do I have to abandon my childhood? No, nobody's asking you to do that. And we've said this on here over and over again, Jeff. We talked about it, 2-3 weeks ago when Miami played Cal, because it was the team I grew up rooting for and the team you grew up rooting for. But it's like, yeah, man, there's a little soft spot in my heart for the Canes. But, man, Middle gave me my life. You know what I mean? Like I would not that I'm anywhere special, but I would not have my wife, my job, my kids. None of that would have happened had I not went to Middle Tennessee State. And if you don't have, I'm not saying you have to find your wife and find your family, but if you don't have your best friends and lifelong memories and relationships, I think you're the problem. Honestly, I think that's on you, man.
Well, those years from 18 to 24 or whatever, I was a JUCO guy, so I spent 4 years post transferring from Laney College, and those are such formative years. You change, I really believe, from 18 to about 25, 26 as a man, or even, I'm sure it's just similar for women. You change so much. Your mind changes. You go through experiences. And, for me, it was when I moved away. I moved away from the Bay Area where I grew up, was born and raised. It's all I ever knew. It's a bubble out there. So getting outside of that bubble, really opened my eyes to so many different things. And that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Rick Stockstill and Middle Tennessee State giving me an opportunity, a West Coast kid, to move across the country, see something different. And, yeah, I've met some of the most important people in my life. Same thing, Sprouse. Got my wife, got my kids, got my business, got my community now that I live in because of, Stock in Middle Tennessee. And, I'm forever grateful and thankful. And I feel personally, and it's another thing too, when you invest so much time and energy and money into something, typically you want to see it through, and you want whatever that is to thrive. And that's how I feel. And when they lose, I feel that. When they win, I feel that, because I feel like I'm a part of the bigger community, of the bigger picture of Middle Tennessee. And nothing against childhood fandom. I'm sure you make a lot of great memories going. I know I did at Cal with my brothers and my uncle and my dad. But it hits different when, I'm just telling you, when you've experienced so much at a place and then you root for that place, post-graduation. It just, when they win, man, you feel like you win. When they lose, you feel like you lose. You're just so much more invested in it. And all we're saying when it comes to this is support the school that you went to or go to. As much, at a minimum, the team that you didn't go to school to, but you support because your dad support or whatever. That's cool. I just think at a minimum. Now, for me, I'll root for Cal if they're on TV. I don't ever watch Cal. I don't. My fandom is Middle Tennessee, and I'm all in on them. Middle Tennessee has done far more for me than Cal ever has.
Well, that's, you mentioned you investing in what you invested, and I think that's a big part of it, right? A lot of kids, they go to school and that's all they do, man. They don't do anything in the community. They don't do any extracurriculars. And that's the big problem at Middle, of course, is having the commuters and all of that stuff. But it's the more you invest, the more your bond with whatever grows, right? I have obviously my experience at the Air Force Academy, and it's like some of the things we did there were really, really difficult. And the harder you do, the bigger the bond, right? So I've spent some of those guys, my buddies from Air Force, man, some of them left before I did. Some of them we said like a couple months together.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, those couple months were so like, physically hard, sure, whatever. You got football, you got the basic training stuff. Mentally, and just being away from your family for the first time, being 18, going across the country, freaking taking your cell phone away and doing hard things. But the bond with those guys is so strong for what little bit of time you spent. And it's like, if you put in any effort while you're in school, at any school, it doesn't have to be some academy or anything like that. It doesn't even have to be that difficult. I mean, middle's a pretty easy school, but like if you invest and you just do things and you make effort, that bond with all of those people and that entire university is going to continue to get stronger. I mean, the thing that drives me the craziest, Jeff, is even the people that say, well, oh, I support both. No, you don't. What game's on your TV? What game do you go to? Like, don't say you're a Middle fan and you don't say anything. Your social media says go Big Orange on it or Roll Tide on it, and then your only allegiance to Middle is talking trash every time they lose. But boy, let them get good for a season, and then oh yeah, I went there. Yeah, oh yeah, Middle Tennessee. Yeah. That's the kind of people we're dealing with here. And it just kills me. And one of the best tweets I saw on the subject the other day was a guy said, look, if you didn't go to a school and you want to be a fan, that's fine. But the fight song and the alma mater and all the traditions, you got nothing to do with that, pal. You didn't go there. It's not your alma mater. So quit singing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And at the end of the day, like, I really don't care what you do with your life. It's your life. Live it how you want. And how this came up was there was a video taken, I believe, at the University of Texas where they were videoing fans at the tailgate walking through campus, all had Texas gear on, and they were asking them like basic, simple questions like, who's your favorite player?
No idea.
People couldn't answer the question. Like, they didn't know. And again, like, I really don't care. But when you're talking about true fandom, like, you should at least know a couple of the players and like, or just be like, look, I'm here because my buddies are here and I'm wearing. I can respect that. Respect that. But don't sit here and say you're a diehard fan of this school, but yet you literally don't know anything about it. But yet you went to Texas State, but you don't go to Texas State football games. You don't wear Texas State gear. And when you're in a conversation at a bar, they're like, oh, who's your team? Texas. But, it's almost like they're afraid to say where they go. And that's all we want. Have pride in your school. If you went to school and we get, and people that didn't go to school, we weren't talking about you. You weren't part of that conversation. We're saying if you went to a school, you invested time, energy, money into that school, you got a degree from it, just have a little pride in your school. I think you're going to be, in the long run, you're going to feel more fulfilled as a fan than just rooting for the big school down the road in your state.
You know what I think a big part of it is, Jeff? You're right. I think they're afraid to have the conversation. Because if they say in the bar, yeah, Texas State, the other person's going to be like, oh, yeah, but what about your big school? What about your real, they're going to say that. And people don't want to have that conversation. I can't tell you how many times at my big boy, my real life job, like, people know I got the podcast and I've tried to explain to them, but they'll be like, I live close to Auburn. And they're like, when are you going to go to the Auburn game? I'm like, I'm not. Like, guys, I'm not gonna. When you go check out the Dogs? And I'm just like, don't plan on it unless they're playing Middle again. I might go. But it's like you almost have to explain yourself after the answer. And I think that's what people don't like. They don't want to say, Middle Tennessee. And then someone says, yeah, but like, what about the big schools who you follow? And then they got to give some explanation. Oh, I went to Middle, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, I mean, it's just.
I'm going to be honest, Bress. I wear it as a badge of honor at this point. And when it comes up, like, I almost don't like when it comes up anymore because we've invested so much into this. like it's personal to me. So like I'm just like, yeah, Middle Tennessee. Like, oh, you're in Tennessee, you're not a Vol fan. I go, I hate everything that color, and you can't tell me different. I said, actually, you know what? I like the dog. I'm a fan of the dog, but everything else.
What kind of dog is that?
I believe it's a hound of some kind, bloodhound.
Yeah, some kind of hunting dog.
But yeah, I'm just like I'm when those conversations come up, especially depending on how many tequilas I've had, I get a little feisty and fired up. Especially when they try and like Middle Tennessee. What are they good at? Women's basketball? I'm like, yeah, we're damn good at women's basketball.
Damn good at that.
But you know who else we're pretty damn good at over the last decade? Beat Miami, beat Georgia Tech, beat all these big schools in the state.
You know, last thing on this is the thing I do get, right, is those atmospheres are awesome, right? I'm sure you go to a Texas game and I'm sure it's awesome. You got 100,000 people, but if you took that crowd and took anybody in there that's an alumni of a different school in Texas, and they all went to the game of their actual alma mater or their local school, every stadium in Texas would be full on Saturday, and all the atmospheres would be awesome. I mean, Texas State, for example, has done great with that. Their atmosphere has been awesome this year, you know. But if you had everybody that goes to Austin that goes to UTSA or goes to Texas State or goes to North Texas, or even I mean, you heard people goes to TCU, goes to SMU, they all go to so like if you would just go to the stadium of the school that you go to or went to, every atmosphere would be awesome, and that's all we want. And so all we want is for every player to get a chance to play in big time atmospheres every Saturday.
No doubt. And the last thing I'll say on it is one of the main accounts person that was going back and forth with us on Twitter on the subject. He was a graduate of BYU, North Texas, never went to the University of Texas, but was a staunch supporter. He's like, I didn't go to Texas. I went to these two schools, got my degrees from there. I don't support them. And all my response was, buddy, you're missing out on some good football because BYU's undefeated right now in the Big 12, and North Texas has a big game against Memphis this week, and they only have one loss, undefeated in the conference.
Well,
might want to go check them out.
Well, that's the kind of person you just wait until BYU beats Texas in the playoff.
That's right.
Oh, BYU alum, Cougars all the way. Exactly right. Steve Young, Ty Detmer, they'll start rattling off all the history books. They'll have their Wikipedia pulled up anytime somebody has a conversation with them. That's the stuff that pisses me off. And then next season will come around and they'll be right back on the Texas bandwagon. I mean, it just that kind of thing drives me off the wall. By the way, I know we got to talk some football here, Jeff. Have you seen I'm not a big TV guy. Have you watched the Vince McMahon documentary on Netflix?
I'm a couple episodes in. It's pretty awesome.
Pretty good. It's pretty good. Now, you got to be careful with those, right? Because you never know what the agenda is of whoever puts those together. And you can tell it's coming from a bit of a negative bias towards Vince McMahon, which, look, I'm not denying that guy probably did some things that he shouldn't have done. And a lot of that may be correct. But we don't know. And I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a judge and I'm not on the jury of any of his trials. So what I know is outstanding promoter, has put on the greatest and longest running soap opera, basically, over 3-4 decades. Right. So, I mean, and just what a time, man. Have you gotten into the Attitude Era yet?
Oh yeah.
It's the best part of the show, man. And boy, you get back to thinking like, man, I was watching that stuff. Oh boy.
Yeah.
But when they bring Stone Cold,
different
and The
times,
Rock
Browse, different era.
I know. But
Take
anyway, I thought that was I don't know why I brought that up to you. I just know you're a wrestling guy. I know that Vince McMahon, if that guy, I mean, I know he tried the football thing and it was a complete failure, but if that guy was promoting Group of 5 football, dude, buddy, we'd have electric atmospheres.
We would. I mean, a lot of the NFL camera angles and certain things they do production wise, they stole from the XFL. So like, he might not have known a lot about running a league, and nobody's going to be able to take on the NFL. But when it comes to entertainment, the dude knows
Yeah.
or at least used to know entertainment.
Now, as you get later into the documentary and they start showing more recent footage of him, the guy has made a mistake with some of the work he's done on his face.
Yeah.
But he looks bad. And then
Yeah,
he's
he
got
looks rough.
he's got some clips. So I never realized he did this, where he's got a jet black mustache.
I remember
And only the jet black mustache, no beard or nothing. It's like, Vince, somebody's got to get in your ear. You're getting the same advice as some of these kids that are getting in the portal with your
No
advice.
question.
But anyway, hey, let's talk some football. We had Wednesday night games and a game last night. Wednesday night, you had FIU and UTEP. UTEP gets their first win of the year. FIU with kind of another one of those performances. Kewan Jenkins gets hurt. They bring in the backup, and they go 3 or 4 possessions in a row where they can't even get a snap. I mean, snaps going to the left, quarterback's dropping the snap, all that. I mean, and that guy ends up getting hurt. They end up playing a third quarterback. All 3 of them threw an interception. UTEP's quarterback threw an interception. Every quarterback that took a snap threw an interception on Wednesday night. A lot of picks were thrown. But man, FIU, it's interesting. We were talking about this a little bit yesterday, Jeff. It seems like they always got skill guys. They're lacking up front on offense. I think they're a little bit undersized. I think for as good as South Florida is as a recruiting ground, it's not necessarily the best recruiting area for offensive line. I mean, it's just not. You got athletes like crazy. But from a guy that grew up in Broward County, nobody grows up wanting to play O-line down there.
Yeah.
Even me, my first year of Pop Warner football, I was wearing number 25, playing center. so I mean, it's one of those deals. But then UTEP, man, shout out to them. Shout out to Scotty Walden. The guy, you say what you want. I've heard some people say, oh, he's being a cheerleader. He's not a coach. Man, look, that guy loves his players, and his players seem like they love him. And so I root for that. I don't care what style of coaching it is. If the coach loves the players love the coach. Seems like, that relationship's working. Now see if they can build on that, win a couple more this year, and go into next year with some momentum.
Yeah, and what you're seeing around college football, it seems like, is some more young guys are getting opportunities that maybe they hadn't in years past. And like, they're just coming at it from a different style. Like, his energy is infectious. And I think you have to be able to sell yourself and be believable to your players, because players can spot a phony quicker than anybody in a locker room. And it seems like they believe, and they were so happy to get that win. Shout out to them. That's why I'm wearing the Miner t-shirt today. And they deserve it. They work hard. It's hard to win football games. And I tell my freaking 9-year-old baseball team and my 6-year-old, and even when Lou starts it, it'll be his 4-year-old baseball team. It's hard to win games. And when you do, you should freaking be ecstatic and celebrate. I don't care if it's the only win of the season or you're undefeated. Every win, you should be super excited and have a great time doing it, because if you're not having fun, there's no reason for you to be out there. That's what sports are about, especially youth sports. And couldn't be happier for those guys. And shout out Javon Jackson, 26 carries, 148 yards on the ground, and a touchdown. Haven't been able to throw the ball very well this year, but they've been able to run it fairly decently, and that's a hell of a performance, getting their first win of the season. Who knows? Maybe it sparks something.
Yeah, and then in that big battle, also in Conference USA for really second place, behind Liberty right now, you had Western Kentucky going down to Sam Houston. This was a much better game than the final score shows. Sam Houston's going in to kick what would be a game-tying field goal with 8 or 9 minutes left in the game. Field goal gets blocked. Okay, Western scores on the next play on a slant. They house it. Then Sam Houston, they've got their backup quarterback in now because of injury. They fumble on an exchange. Western goes down and scores another touchdown. So now a tie game just went to a 17-point 3-score deficit in the span of about 3 minutes. And then Sam Houston throws a pick on the next possession. Game's over at that point. And that's how these games go, right? That's how a lot of the Group of 5 versus Power 4 games go. When you see a large margin and a score like that, it's not necessarily as bad as you think. It's just the better teams tend to make less mistakes, and they capitalize when you make a mistake. And that's what happened to Sam Houston. They had the special teams mistake, and they had some turnovers, and Western put it away with their next two possessions after that.
Yeah, and shout out Caden Velkamp. He continues to produce for this offense. TJ Finley goes down early in the season, the leg injury, and I think honestly that with him getting hurt might have saved their season, because Finley didn't look great in his first couple performances, and Caden Velkamp, who was there last year, understands the offense better. He's just been able to operate this offense with more efficiency. 4 total touchdowns, 3 in the air, 1 on the ground against Sam Houston. And he's efficient. He's efficient, and he's a big kid. And they're using him a lot in the QB run game. You get that extra blocker in the running back, and I think that's been huge for him, because their run game hasn't been great all year. But you add that element to it, especially on 3rd and short situations where, you just gain that. It's a numbers game. You gain that extra blocker, and he's been able to fall forward and get first downs and extend drives where in other situations they might have to punt and get off the field. So, shout out to him stepping in, being patient, because that's a hard spot. Reed leaves last year. You have a great bowl game. You get this big transfer from Texas State coming in, and I'm sure he came in, got some NIL money to be there, and he trusted the process and trusted himself that he knew he's a good player. And all it takes is one snap and you get an opportunity. The key is you got to make that opportunity hit, and he has, and I'm happy for him.
Jeff, is there a school in the country that is a better developer or a better showcase for quarterbacks right now than Western? We're going back ever since we've been doing Group of 5 guys. They've had great quarterback play, numbers wise, for sure.
They have. Before Tedford left, I would say Fresno State and Jeff Tedford, but what they've been able to do with Zappy and Reed and there's other ones before those guys at Western Kentucky. They've been a bit of a QBU.
They have.
So to speak.
They had a good one when we were still playing. It made some rounds around the league for a while.
His name's escaping me at the moment. But no, they've done a great job. And Coach Helton and that family's got some coaches in it, doesn't it?
They sure do.
They've just done a great job. And he personally up there is just, the offense is going to score. They're efficient. They spread you out. They know where they're deficient at, and they try and hide that as much as possible. Because like our offensive lines haven't been the greatest. And it seems like that's where we lack in size and physicality. So it's like, all right, well, we're not going to sit here and try and pound the ball. Let's spread them out 5 wide. Let's use motion to get favorable matchups, and let's go. Let's use the passing game to open up what we can in the run game. And he's done great.
Mike White.
The
one before. And fun fact, Broward County product actually went to the same high school as current Middle Tennessee quarterback Nick Vadiato.
There we go.
How about that high school putting out some QBs, huh? But yeah, I'm with you, man. Western's really they've really put out some damn good QBs over the last few years. It's been tough to beat them too, and that's one of the reasons they've been at the top of this conference for a little bit. Last night, boy, it got a little dicey for the Herd again, didn't it? They go up 18-0 real quick, and then they're up 25-10 at halftime. Couldn't score most of the second half. It got a little dicey, but then they finally put it away at the end. AJ Turner, heck of a game for him. 15 carries for 177, 3 touchdowns. Also had a 30-yard touchdown reception from the running back position. So 4 total TDs for him. And Marshall gets it done. And I'll say this. I thought Coach Huff looked more animated than he normally is on the sideline, as far as like a fiery, in a good way, I thought. Hopefully that'll get some people off his back. I realize it's Georgia State, but that's a big conference win for them. And they're right in the mix, right in it still. They really control. I mean,
they still control their own destiny.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, if Georgia Southern, unless Georgia Southern wins out, but the way the Sun Belt is, I think that's pretty unlikely, and Georgia Southern may lose this week.
Yeah, and I don't know. This probably won't get the haters, I guess you can say, off of Huff's back. But I want to give a shout out to Georgia State. I think with Del McGee coming in late, what he's been able to do there, I know they're 2-4, 0-3 in conference, but I don't think anybody expected them to even be competitive.
Yeah.
And they are. I mean, they had a chance at one point in this game to tie it and possibly go ahead, and it didn't go that way. But I think you give him some time there in Atlanta, really get his recruiting, be able to spread that out. I think Georgia State is a team to keep an eye on. And I think they have the ability to knock somebody off in this conference late and possibly ruin somebody's season. They get the big Vandy win. Everyone's high on Vandy, right, this year?
Yeah, everybody forgot about that.
Well,
and I think, it's funny when we talk about places like FIU, FAU, Georgia State that are in these big metro areas. They're right around these other big Power Four, brands and whatnot. But I think, recruiting in Atlanta or in the state of Georgia is really good, and it's gotten even better over the last few years. And then you go over. I've been to some high school games across the river here in South Alabama or Southeast Alabama, and there's some damn good high school football. And I think Atlanta, as a city, has a certain draw to some of these kids. And then, to be honest with you, if they're thinking about their professional life after, Atlanta and its suburbs and its outskirt cities and towns, you go Marietta, Alpharetta, Buford, these places are booming and growing like crazy. So Atlanta would not be a bad spot to get a degree and, look at starting your life after college and after football. And, I think it's got a certain draw. I think a lot of people are intrigued by Atlanta, and I think he'll do a really good job getting kids there. We got a late night one tonight, Jeff. I think it's 10:30 Eastern time kickoff. Is that what we're dealing with tonight in the Mountain West?
I believe so. Mountain West after dark.
Yeah, speaking of Jeff Tedford and Fresno State going to Nevada. Let me tell you, Nevada's been playing some good ball. I mean, even in their losses, they've looked pretty good. And Fresno, although they've played some pretty good teams, they're I'm a little nervous. They're starting to unravel, Jeff.
Yeah. I'm nervous. I don't know why. I mean, I guess just, Fresno's a couple hours outside of the Bay Area, but I've always kind of just followed them as a kid, them and San Jose State. So I want them to win. Yeah, you lose the QB guru, offensive mind, mad scientist, and Jeff Tedford. I think you're seeing that with Mikey Keene. I do. That's such a hard thing to go through. And I know Skipper was there, but he was a defensive guy. And you still have coaches in place that you're familiar with, but it's having that voice in your head, that mind, and he's not there. And I'm sure he probably still talks, but it's just having that guy there. It just hasn't. Fresno State's underachieved this year, and I hate it for him because I think they have a great roster. It just hasn't gone this way. I think they get this done. I know they're going to be on the road at Nevada. I don't know how the home field advantage will be for Nevada. Do you think this is a good matchup, though? Brendan Lewis, he's a dual threat kid, and he's been able to make plays with his feet where when stuff breaks down or offensive linemen miss blocks, he's done a good job making plays. Should be a fun one. Mountain West after dark tonight.
Yeah, I got to tell you, in Fresno, their two losses. Look, it's UNLV and Washington State, both really good teams this year. But I'm going to go the other way. I think Brendan Lewis. I think when you what they're lacking in skill position or offensive line is made up for with his dual threat ability. And I think Nevada may show out tonight from a crowd standpoint. They do. I always go back to that game when they beat Boise State. I know that was freaking 15 years ago now. You had Nevada Colin Kaepernick, who's just a puppy playing quarterback for Nevada. And that place was, I mean, when's the last time you've seen a Group of Five stadium where the camera's shaking? It's so loud. I mean, that they had that there.
Yeah.
So Give me Nevada. Give me a nice little showing from the crowd, and I'll take the Wolfpack. Going on to the American, Jeff. We're going to get a week closer to having undefeated Army and Navy playing each other because they're both going to win this week. I think Army's got ECU at home. ECU. I mean, listen, they're a turnover factory, and you can't turn it over against Army. You cannot do it, and they think they will. I think Army's going to do it, and then Navy's playing Charlotte at home. That one could get a little more interesting. I think Charlotte's obviously been playing quite a bit better lately, especially on defense. But both of them are three score favorites. I think they both win.
Yeah, and it just depends on what Charlotte team shows up. You know, they've had a good win, but I'm not sold that they can do that consistently. And when you play a team like Navy, you got to be on all cues, got to be ready to rock and roll. You can't miss stuff. You can't make mistakes because they'll make you pay. I think Navy gets it done pretty handily, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I would agree. Interested to see what Charlotte does at quarterback because I think Max Brown is available. Is he not?
I hadn't heard anything or seen anything in the last couple of days. I know he was trending that way, but that freshman looked pretty darn good when they got their win a week ago. Or the last game. I
think what was that was the theme of all of last season, huh? Freshman dual threat quarterback, put them in.
Yeah.
they were all rolling last year.
They give you a shot. If they can be somewhat efficient in the pass game, they can run.
Yep.
So
yeah, then you got Tulsa going to Temple. Temple minus 2.5. I like Temple. Temple's played okay this year. They've played some decent ball.
Yeah, wow. This is a wash for me. I don't know. That's a pick.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough for both of them.
Rough teams.
UAB at South Florida. Both teams been struggling mightily as of late. That being said, we kind of knew this what was going to happen with South Florida. They've just got to Alex Golis has got to keep them together because you knew they played their four toughest games they played in the span of about 5 weeks, and they lost all of them. But it was, again, if you played those games in week 1 and week 5 and week 9 and in week 13, nobody would be saying anything about South Florida struggling right now. You'd be saying South Florida's really good. They lost to 4 really good teams. So they're going to roll again. And UAB, unfortunately, is just getting worse by the week, it seems. But give me South Florida, whether Byron Brown is healthy or not. I think they got too much talent on that team.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think South Florida gets it done. I hope Byron Brown gets the play. I'm trying to look. I've been looking through here and seems like he's going to be a late week decision. So maybe we'll hear something today. But give me the Bulls.
Yeah, I like the Bulls. And then you got FAU and UTSA. You got two teams, Jeff, that are Jekyll and Hyde. To me, this is which quarterback plays more efficient. I mean, if Cam Fancher plays like he played the other day against North Texas, I think FAU is going to roll. And so I don't know. UTSA's at home. They're a touchdown favorite. San Antonio and that student body is beginning to quickly abandon ship, which is BS in my opinion.
It's mind-blowing.
They're turning their back on Traylor, and like I think you said it, Jeff, be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for, because you've got a great recruiter, a great developer, and a guy that has really built your program. And it's amazing how quick you can turn on the guy. But I think UTSA will get it done.
Yeah, give me them at home in the Alamo Dome. Their record at home is phenomenal, and I think that carries them in this one. I just don't understand it. Like, you guys got to be patient. You guys have to understand what you lost and what the program has done under Traylor. Like,
yeah,
to flip this quick, you're sounding like some other fan bases that we call out and complain about. Don't be that fan base. Support these guys. Like, you have to support them, the highs and the lows, and understand that every year it is so difficult. It's so difficult to win, and it's so difficult to stay on top because everybody's trying to take you down. You lost tons of talent. You're going to be fine. Don't run Traylor out of town, because there's no guarantee the next guy's going to come in and do anything remotely close to what you have now.
Yep. Here's an elimination game, Jeff. Elimination game in the American, and not a lot of people are talking about it, but North Texas goes to Memphis. Several things. I certainly hope that the Liberty Bowl, I think it's called something different these days, Liberty Bowl Stadium, something or other, but
The FedEx
that
Forum.
place, yeah, that place better be absolutely rocking. I mean, you have a team that is really pretty much controls. I mean, they probably got to get Boise to lose, but outside of that, they control their own destiny because they can go, well, they got to hope Navy loses. But they can go win the American, and if Boise gets a loss, a lot of people would be arguing for Memphis to make the playoff. Maybe they get in as an at-large or as a fifth-ranked conference champion. I mean, that's still that still is sitting there now. Not a lot of people want to admit that, but if Boise wins out, they're going to be like a top 10 team. I mean, they're sitting at 15 in the playoff committee right now. If they win out, they're going to be a top 10 team. So they'll be higher than the 12 spot that everybody thinks. And they could very well be the 4 because they very much could be the highest ranked or the 4th highest ranked conference champion. So then the 5th highest ranked conference champion could be a team like Memphis or Army or Navy or Tulane. So this narrative, I'm telling you, boy, if we get 2 group of 5 teams in the playoff, I don't know what I'm going to do, Jeff, because I don't know how we're going to go to 2 playoff games.
We'll find a way. We got to find somebody to help sponsor our flights or something.
We'll be on Beale Street on Friday and in Boise, Idaho on Saturday.
I mean, there'd be nothing better. There would be nothing better.
Yeah, that'd be big time. But talking about this game, Memphis, we've talked about them the last few weeks. They haven't really jumped off the page. They've been very good defensively. Now, the only game that they haven't been good defensively is the Navy game, which is really the only good offense that they've played. But you look at their defensive performance, it's UNA, North Alabama. It's a bad Florida State team. It's a bad Middle Tennessee team. It's a bad Troy offense. North Texas is not a bad offense. They can put up some points. I'm leaning Memphis here because they tend to be the team that just always gets it done, even as bad as it might look. I think they have, as crazy as it sounds, I think they have more weapons. I mean, there's going to be between Rock Taylor, Demir Blankhamsey, and then on the other side, DT Sheffield at North Texas. There can be some big time receivers in this game, but I'm going to go Memphis, not by 11.5 though.
Yeah, this one's tough for me. I'm still frustrated with North Texas's inability to cover.
Yeah, Jeff, don't pick them.
The spread. No, I'm not going to. But honestly, 11.5 points. There's a lot of value there for the money line, and it wouldn't shock me that North Texas actually does win this game because this is a game that they're probably not picked to win in, like by the betting world. So it might be something you want to add a little extra juice, not put a lot of money on it, put something small on it, but throw North Texas in a parlay. There's going to be a lot of juice there. I think Memphis does get it done, but I think it's close.
Yep. Sorry for the MAC fans. We're going to try to roll through this quickly, mainly because there's not a ton of great games. Central Michigan at Eastern Michigan. Give me Eastern here at home. Look at the MAC again, Jeff. 3.5, 2.5, 1.5, 3.5. I mean, these lines, nobody has any clue. They're all the same.
This is the MAC in a nutshell, man. Everybody just beats up on each other, and it's like who decides to show up and which matchup is favorable. This is a tough slate.
Give me Eastern Michigan in that first one. Ohio at Miami is interesting because Miami looked really good last week for the first time really all season. So I'm a little nervous. I don't know if that was the real Miami. I'm going to go with them because I picked them to win this damn conference. No. And so they better start winning. But I know Alex, I know everybody likes Ohio. I should probably trust the guy that is the Maxpert, out there. But give me Miami, man. I'm rooting for them in Oxford.
I'm going to go Ohio. I think this is a classic where Miami makes you believe that they're the team that you thought, and then they get at home and Ohio beats them.
Kent State at Bowling Green. This is one of the ones where Bowling Green look they're favored by 3 touchdowns. They probably won't win by 3 touchdowns. They will win. And that's going to set us up for a great time next week, my friend.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Western Michigan at Buffalo. pick'em game. It's at Buffalo. I don't know. Buffalo, by the way, you see their new weight room?
I haven't. I missed that.
Yeah, check it out on the Twitters. They posted it. They posted it yesterday. They had like a kind of a ribbon cutting grand opening. Funny enough, I was back when Lance Leipold was there. He was, I don't know if you remember this, Jeff. He was messaging us about their new facilities and what was coming, and he didn't get to experience it. And that poor guy is on the hot seat in Kansas right now, which is amazing. You have a program as bad as Kansas, and he goes there. They get good. That's like the worst thing for a coach, to take a bad program and make them good, and then these fans get these crazy expectations and they run you out the door the minute it's not going well. It's like Coach Chadwell said yesterday. It's like, I think we won too many out the gate, and now the only way to go is down.
He said we're 5-0, but you think we're 0-5.
Yeah,
by some fans' reactions.
Yeah, but give me Buffalo there. I think Buffalo defensively is really good.
Yeah, I think Buffalo gets it done. I'm a little confused on why they're not favored.
Yeah, it's sort
not
of
that it's a lot. It's basically pick 'em, but still.
Then Toledo going to NIU. Sorry to Coach Hammock and the NIU fans. I'm rooting for Toledo here because I want to see some momentum because we're going there next week. But, man, unfortunately, I got NIU here, Jeff. I think they're the more consistent team. I don't know what Toledo's going to do at quarterback, and they just did not look good at all last week.
Yeah, I'm going to take Toledo. I think they bounce back. I think Candle knows they didn't look great. So my assumption is this week of practice was locked in and sort of hell. I think they get it done. Yeah. I think Toledo on the road handles business, and they set up a huge matchup.
I-75. Can't wait, buddy.
We'll be there.
Can't wait. I wonder how long it would take because I got I-75 pretty much right here. I might drive it right up I-75. There's several schools along I-75 too. That's the interesting thing about this. Last one in the MAC, Ball State going to Nashville to play New Mexico State's satellite campus, Vanderbilt. So, funny how that works out. Now Vandy, all of a sudden, now they're favored by 4 touchdowns every week.
I know.
But they'll Pavia, we saw him a ton last year. They're actually he's a problem.
Yeah, and Ball State's they're rough. They turn the ball over far too much.
Yep. Moving on to the Mountain West, Hawaii at Washington State. Washington State's got a pretty good ball club. I think they'll win, and I think Hawaii probably used a lot of their focus and energy on last week's game against Boise, and they're probably beat up a little bit. Might be tough for them, and now they got to travel to the mainland. New Mexico at Utah State. This is a game, two teams with not great records, but some good players. If you want to watch a game that's going to be exciting, you watch Utah State and you watch Jalen Royals. That kid, man, shout out to him again and again and again because he's on a bad team and he is performing every week, and he's sticking it out. He's riding with his guys. And then New Mexico, that quarterback Dampier is really athletic, can throw it a little bit, and that's an interesting game. I'm gonna take New Mexico on the road here.
I'm going with Utah State at home.
Really,
I love Jalen Royals. I think he is an absolute stud. One of the best receivers in the country, like you said, just on a rough team. But I think they get it done at home. I do. If Petrus can protect the ball, not give Dampier and that offense extra possessions, they're going to win this game. I think they're more talented collectively on that team than New Mexico is.
I like it. Wyoming at San Jose State. San Jose State, I think, gets it done. Wyoming is, man, it's tough to see Wyoming and Air Force as bad as they are this year. That's for sure. And then Colorado State does go to Air Force. The Ram Falcon Trophy has been in Colorado Springs for a long time. Hate to tell you, boys, it's going to Fort Collins on Saturday.
I think it does. I think the Rams get it done. The only thing that worries me is Tory Horton. Shout out to him. Hate it that he's injured. He's out for the season now. Get healthy. You're going to have a long NFL career ahead of you. That's the only thing that worries me about. You lose your star guy that gets all the attention, that opens it up for everybody else. How does that offense respond? I think Matt Mumme figures it out. Maybe see a little more run game this week than we have. But yeah, give me the Rams. Yep.
And then sneaky one for the Rebels. UNLV, a touchdown favorite at Oregon State. Listen, I think Barry Odom has done maybe the best job in the country of taking a team that was not, I mean, they were on our radar. They were a little bit on the radar in the Mountain West, but they were certainly not on the national radar like they are now. And for keeping those guys locked in and focused week in and week out, even when everybody starts patting you on the back, what he's done there and what Brennan Marion has done and what Hajj Malik Williams has done coming in, they have all the controversy, and it took them one game to put that to bed. Nobody's talking about Matt Sluka anymore.
Nope.
Nobody.
No,
And I mean, and that's not a shot at Matt Sluka. That's just it's a credit to Odom and Marion and Hajj Malik Williams and Ricky White and these guys. But I think they're going to get it done again. I think they're really, I mean, they are firing on all cylinders right now, offensively and defensively.
This game worries me, Sprouse.
It is sneaky.
It worries me because you know who UNLV has next week?
Boise State.
I don't like. I think UNLV will be ready. I don't like 7.5. I really don't. Not on the road. All their games have been close, especially these big matchups. And I know Oregon State, they're not a P4 anymore, but UNLV wins. But this game scares me a little bit.
Yeah,
it does.
It's definitely a sneaky one. I think, like I said, I just think Odom's got them so locked in.
If they come
Jackson
out,
Woodard, by the way,
dog.
You want to watch a guy on defense. Yeah.
Las Vegas Raiders, keep this guy in Vegas. Just go ahead and draft this young man. He is awesome to watch.
Jackson, tell your agent there's one place you don't want to go. Two places. The Raiders and the Dolphins.
You know what? I agree with
what
that.
about Max Crosby now?
Statement.
It's like getting kicked out of the locker room or something. Did you see that, Jeff?
I think that's fake.
Is it fake?
I think it's a fake.
Probably. You never know anymore.
I don't. And it wasn't. It did. When I saw it, before I realized that account was not real, I said, you know what? This is just par for the course for the Las Vegas Raiders. So yeah, honestly, Jackson, don't go there because we're a bit. Well, now Tom Brady's now approved. He's 5%.
No.
He's going to take us.
He's there to sabotage the Raiders like he did when they they invented a rule in the middle of a game, and the tuck rule against the Raiders. I don't know how you can, if you're a Raider fan, I don't know how you can accept something like that.
Because I want to win.
That being said, the Raiders take him as an owner. The Dolphins right now, I would take him to come in and play quarterback. 45 years old.
Me too. I ain't got a quarterback
geez.
either.
Moving on to the Sun Belt, big one. East versus West, Louisiana at Coastal, going to Conway. Every time I want to pick Coastal, they don't do well. And I really wanted to pick them here. But I don't know. You got Steeple versus Terry versus Steeple. They're both going to be unhappy no matter what. It's like, I'm going to go the Cajuns, man. I think they're just quietly winning. That's what they're doing. They're just playing well. Coastal is 2 hit or miss for me. I know it's at home. This is kind of like almost a redemption game for Louisiana from a couple years ago when they didn't get to play them in the championship game with COVID and all that stuff. I don't know. Give me the Cajuns. I really have no idea.
Yeah, I'm on the Cajun wagon as well. I like Wooldridge. He's done a great job this season, really stepping in and being kind of the calming force, in my opinion, on this offense. So give me the Cajuns.
Yeah, and then you got Texas State going to Old Dominion. Texas State's a 10-point favorite. They'll win this game, but I would bet a lot of money that it's not going to be by 10 because Old Dominion does not play 2-score games. They don't do it. It'll be a 7-8 point game, but Texas State's going to get it done.
See, I think Texas State does cover, and I think if they don't, then what it says is their offense isn't as efficient as I originally thought, but I think it is. Because ODU is a good team, especially defensively, but and being at home, give me Texas State to cover. Drop that down to 9.5, and I really like that number.
Drop it down to 8, and I like it. It's just going to be, buddy. Arkansas State is favored at Southern Miss. Yeah, give me Arkansas State. They've played good at times this year, and they're technically still alive in this thing.
Yeah,
I'll take Butch.
Give me the Red Wolves. I think Southern Miss is they're in a rough spot, and I don't know how much longer their coach has. If he's going to be there, they better figure it out quick. But I don't think they get it done this week.
Jeff, I got to shout out the chat. William S. William, are you in Hawaii with that aloha comment? Is that what that is?
There ain't no way. It'd be like,
buddy, it's like 2 a.m., 1 a.m.
No, I think it actually might be nighttime there.
Well, then maybe.
Yeah,
anyway,
1 a.m.
Spot on, Jeff. I
Look
know what
at
I'm
you.
talking about. If there's
Look
one
at
thing
you.
I do know, it's geography. Except for last year when I thought Miami of Ohio was on Central Time. Isn't that what that was?
Yeah, I think so.
Which that does not make it still doesn't make any sense to me at all. At all.
Yeah, he
But-
says he's in Hawaii.
Look at that. Thanks for jumping on, William. That's big time. 1 a.m. You must be. You got nightlife in Hawaii out there on Waikiki Beach. I mean,
You know, just for William, give me the Rainbow Warriors. They're going to upset Washington State.
yeah. Hey, last game that we're going to talk about, big one in the Sun Belt. East, first place in the East battle. James Madison going to Statesboro, 9.5-point favorites. I tend to look at these games like this. Everybody's patting Georgia Southern on the back because they had that comeback win against Marshall. I look at it like, man, you played pretty terrible for 3.5 quarters. I am not thinking Georgia Southern's going to win this game. Sorry, Lenny. Sorry, Josh. Sorry, everybody in Statesboro. I just think it's one of those ones where you have a super emotional win, and hopefully for them, Coach Helton reeled them back in, right? It's like, look, guys, we played terrible for most of that game, almost all of that game, for about 55 minutes of that game. So hopefully he reels them back in and gets them back to earth. But listen, James Madison is on a mission right now. And I just think James Madison's going to get it done. I think there's going to be a great atmosphere at first, but these fans in Statesboro have tended to leave early. Can't do that if you want to win this one, Georgia Southern. But give me James Madison. I don't know about 9.5 though.
Well, last week I picked the Eagles to win. Josh Bevel was happy with me. I'm not picking them this week. I think James Madison is the best team in the Sun Belt East. I think they crush 9.5.
Really?
I do. And I hate
Look
to
at
say
you
that.
becoming a James Madison fan, right?
I am. I'm just, they're getting it done on the field. And as much as their fan base at times like gets under my skin, like they're just producing on the field. Alonzo Barnett has played phenomenal. Really done a great job at protecting the ball all year. They don't turn it over a lot. They do the 3 phases we talk about, Sprouse: penalties, turnovers, and explosive plays. They do those three things really well, and that's why they've had the season that they've had. I think James Madison wins. I think they cover the 10.5, and I think it lines up for that late game in the season where Marshall goes to Harrisonburg.
A couple questions in the chat about the quarterback. They're going with J.C. French. I can't believe that guy's not concussed. I mean, he gets rocked. He gets just rocked, and he's back. Meanwhile, I'm rooting for Tua. That he slides, and he's out for 9 weeks. I don't understand it, but yeah, I think we talked about this on the phone, Jeff. I think you got to stick with French for now. Look, he's got you there. He's been protecting the ball. He's been playing really well. And that comeback, to me was more so about Marshall handing it to you. No offense to anybody, but I mean, the fumbles that they had, the intentional ground. I mean, that was just wild stuff that Marshall did to keep giving you possession after possession at the end of the game. But we'll see. He probably is going to have a shorter leash, I would say.
Yeah,
there in Statesboro.
And Sprouse, there's another question in the chat. I'm going to default this to you. Our good friend Chad Hassan wants to know if Army and Navy play in the American Championship, does their game next week factor into the college football playoff?
No, right? They decide before then.
I believe. Yeah, I think you're right.
This is what, and I want to make it clear now. I was saying this long before they were both undefeated, that this was because I always thought that game was both teams conceding that they would not be in the position that they're in. It's both teams saying it won't matter. We're not, it won't have. And now here we are. Here we are. And what do you, to me, if I was on the committee, I'm going to be clear here. If I was on the committee, I would probably say, well, I can't put them in even if they're undefeated. They still got another game. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, they might lose to their rival next week. Like, we can't. If I'm taking, if I have a one-loss Boise State that's already won the conference, and I have an undefeated Army that hasn't played their rival yet, I mean, I don't know. Am I crazy for that?
But if they played in the championship game, then they would have played them already.
Yeah, but okay, even a better example. How hard is it to beat a good team twice, let alone 2 weeks in a row? So, you're asking Boise State or UNLV to beat the other one twice, essentially. But Army doesn't have to beat Navy twice, or Navy doesn't have to beat Army twice. I think it's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's dumb.
Again, we've been talking about it, and now here we are. The situation has presented itself, and that's one thing. If we get Tom Pernetti on next week, that's my number one question. And the other part of that is, if they do get in, what do they do in that game? Do you play Bryson Daly?
That's true.
Do you play your starters? Do you
They will. They will.
No, they won't. Not yeah. I mean, I would.
Yeah.
If I was maybe play him for a series or two.
I mean, it's Commander-in-Chief's.
Yeah.
Well, hold on though. Because how does that work? Because if they play let's say they play in the championship, is that for the Commander-in-Chief's trophy? Or is it that game doesn't matter and it goes to the next week?
Jeff, we are making one of the most important games in our country. We are making it an exhibition game that means nothing. That's what we're doing. And I hate to say it, and I realize to Army and Navy it won't mean nothing. But to everybody else it will. Playoffs are already set. Bowl games are already set. I mean, we've been seeing it for years where they've both already accepted a bowl game, whether it be the Armed Forces Bowl, the Military Bowl in DC, or one of those things. And I don't know, man. And I'm going to say something else. I was talking with old Kanzi yesterday a little bit.
Captain Kanzi.
What a shame. What a shame that the Air Force Falcons, who have been the best military academy over the last couple of years, is now so bad at a time when the other two are getting so much publicity and so much love. It's just you couldn't predict, right? But how terrible that they couldn't capitalize on this.
Yeah,
and
sucks.
Army and Navy are going to capitalize because Army and Navy are already talked about more, and Air Force is sort of the forgotten one, even though they hold the highest number of Commander-in-Chief's trophies, but way more so than the other two. But timing, man, you gotta,
strike while
gotta
iron's
capitalize
hot.
on stuff. Any of these Group of 5 schools, right? Like for middle, we'll use as an example. Like you had to capitalize when Tennessee was bad. You had to do it because that was your time to convert some fans or bring some people back. But Tennessee was bad, and then middle was worse.
Yep.
So you didn't get a chance, and now Tennessee's good, and now you've lost another decade of fans. I mean, it's just as simple as that.
Yeah, and we'll get to these voicemails here because we got to move on. But I think Tulane beats Navy in the regular season, so I don't think that they'll make the championship game against Army. But if you end up having an Army, let's just say you have an Army-Tulane championship, I still think Tulane's the best team in the American. But let's just say that Army beats Tulane, right? The conference champion, undefeated, and then they lose to Navy.
I know.
The next week. After they've gotten the college football playoff nod. Because they will. If they're undefeated and run the table, they'll get it.
Not if I'm on the committee.
No.
Okay, we got to do something about this. I'm telling you, Jeff, Thanksgiving Day.
I agree. I think that's perfect.
Get Tulane and Memphis off of Thanksgiving Day and give me Army, Navy. The other schools in the country play their rivals on that weekend. And
you want to know who won't let that happen, Sprouse? Jerry Jones.
I thought you.
He won't.
Well, yeah.
Because they always play on Thanksgiving. They're America's team.
Yeah, that's fine. But well, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Who plays a noon? There's only, what do they play? 2 games? Or
there's
they
a
play
couple
3
games
now?
that he probably wouldn't say anything. I could
But
just,
if you
I
did
could
it at
just see
noon,
him saying some shit.
Give me Army Navy at noon on CBS. Give me the Cowboys at 3:30 or 4 o'clock, and then give me the Lions at 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And then NFL, as greedy as they are, give me some game in freaking Germany at midnight. I mean, I don't know, man. I hate it. I'm interested to hear what, Monken and Newberry's thoughts are on that. But everybody else plays their rivalry.
Monken wasn't even sure Navy still had a football team.
Yeah. Everybody else plays their rival on that weekend. And to me, like, people are going to say, giving it its own weekend makes it special, this and that. And it's like, I don't think it does. Okay. Let me not get us canceled here. I don't think the average football fan cares as much about Army, Navy, and about our service academies as we lead ourselves to believe they do. And I think for that game to be more meaningful and more impactful, I think if you put it on that Thanksgiving weekend, you would have it in the mix. You would have, Iron Bowl, right? Egg Bowl, Mississippi and Mississippi State, which is a terrible game, by the way. But all these famous rivalry games, I think you would have Army Navy in that mix with those. And right now, I don't believe that the media might say it is, but I don't believe that the average fan believes that rivalry is as big as the others. Now, sorry, Jeff, I know we got to get to voicemails. You give me that game where the winner goes to the conference championship, wins the Commander-in-Chief trophy, and gets a playoff berth. It's the biggest rivalry game in the country. But now it's an exhibition. So we might as well let Jake. It's like Jake Paul fighting Mike Tyson. Yeah. Just an exhibition. We'll watch it because it'll be the only game on, but it won't matter for anything. You do what you want, Army and Navy. You do what you want, Joe Biden. You decide, pal.
We'll ask the commissioner. Hopefully we get him on the next week or two.
Yeah. All right, Jeff. Well, we got voicemails. Guys, keep calling the hotline. I want to hear people's opinion on this Army-Navy thing, too, when you call in. I want to hear people's hot takes after the weekend. 615-900-4286. Jeff, we got 3 of them?
4 of them.
4 of them. Let's hit it.
A couple new ones, too.
What's going on, Group of 5 guys? First time caller. Big Red Wolves fan, and I'm not gonna go in too much depth because I know there's not a lot of time. But I believed in Butch. I bought into the wait on the process, and it's just not it for me. This is 4th year, and we still get the same speech, and nothing's ever fixed. So I'm out. I support the team because I love my Red Wolves. I always have, always will. I'll be at the game, backing up the players, but I'm out on the coaching staff. I hate to be that person, but that's just where I'm at. Hopefully he can prove me wrong, and maybe the rest of the season something will happen, but I'll be surprised if we win no more than 2 more games. But, it is what it is, and nothing I can do about it. I don't know, man. I'm depressed. If we can afford to fire him, I would like to see us fire him, but that's not my position. So I'll just keep howling, and hopefully things get turned around. But to end on a positive note, appreciate what you guys do for the Group of 5 football. I love Group of 5 football, and you guys just keep it up. I've been telling some friends about the podcast, so hopefully they start listening in and maybe calling too. But anyway, Wolves up. Let's go Red Wolves.
Appreciate you, man.
Well,
first Arkansas State caller, I believe.
It is. And credit to him, because he said exactly right. I'm out on the coaching staff, but I still support the program, and I'm going to go and support the players. And that's the argument we've been having for years too. I don't know. I think they'll win more than 2. I think they're a 6-win team.
Well, yeah.
Right
look at
the rest of their schedule.
Yeah, I was just looking at their schedule. They should get the win against Southern Miss this weekend. Troy is struggling, especially on offense. That's a good potential for a win there. Louisiana's going to be tough, but you never know. You played South Alabama tough. Then you got Georgia State, ULM, and ODU. I see 3 wins on there.
Yeah.
So
I do too. What's funny is,
but I don't think even if they win 3 games, you've seen enough sample size of Butch at this point. I don't know what his buyout is. But I'd like to see when we played Arkansas State, they freaking drubbed our ass.
Boy, yes, they did.
They were a team we did not.
They were always
play.
Just physical.
Yeah. So I'd like to see them get back there.
Yeah.
Appreciate that call.
Yeah, no doubt.
Let us know your name next time too, or Twitter handle. That way we can just kind of keep track of you. Let's get to our next one.
Hey guys, what's cracking? This is the Juice Man. Oh man, I've been bored I hate whenever my team has a bye week, man, but the Green Wave, we got a big game coming up against Rice, and I just hope that's not one of them games where we go in there, we've been doing so good, and then we throw an egg, and wind up losing the game. It just seems like one of them tricky ones, but I think we'll be all right. What do you think? You think we'll pull it off against Rice? And man, I really love you guys' show, man. I enjoy listening to y'all. It keeps me laughing and entertained. And I like sharing y'all's power rankings in some of my little Tulane groups I'm with on Facebook. And yeah, speaking of that kind of stuff, one of them groups I'm in, they all keep debating, like, what do you think, with all this conference realignment, do you think that a team like ours should aspire to eventually being like the Big 12 or something like that? Or, do you think we should be just happy being in the American Conference and keep trying to win in our conference? I just kind of worry with all that stuff, like that Project Rudy and everything, and the talks, even though I hope it don't happen, but I don't want to be left out if something like that happens, I don't want them to just brush aside the Group of 5 conferences even more than they already have. But I just wanted to get y'all's take on everything, but and I enjoy listening to y'all and, laughing at you. All right, have a good one.
Appreciate you, Juice.
Laughing at us, he said there, Jeff. Did you catch that?
Yeah,
Not laughing with us.
Hey, he tunes in and he's sharing the gospel.
You know what?
So you know what?
Take your ass to the Big 12 too.
No, you can laugh at us all you want. I laugh at us sometimes. I'll be listening back to the show and I'll crack up. Sprouse says something. It's always pretty funny. But
I do the same, and I look at when I'm looking at myself like right now, and sometimes I'm like, God, why do I do that? You once you start listening and watching yourself, you really start catching like little mannerisms you do, and you're like, God,
I know.
I do that. I do whatever thing a lot.
I know. I do the same, but I think Tulane gets it done. I think Tulane's the best team in the American. I'm going to stick to that because that's where my preseason pick was. But when it comes to the college football playoff and the conference realignment, they don't want us in their club anyways. And I don't know. And even if you get to the Big 12, they're not making the cut either. Now with the Project Rudy, they do. I don't know if that model necessarily gets adopted. It's the latest one to come out. I think the Big Ten and the SEC want their own thing. That's what I truly believe, because that's where the bulk of the money is, and they don't want to share it with. They want to share it with as little teams as possible. Well, I just have to wait and see. I hate it because I think college football and sports in general what makes it so amazing is settled on the field and any given Saturday or Sunday or Friday, midweek game, like anything can happen. And the Davids of the world should always have a shot at Goliath at least every once in a while. And if they take that away, shame on them.
Spot on.
All right, let's keep it rolling. Got last two callers.
Group of 5 guys. It's your boy Timmy calling from Texas. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm sure this call's going to suck because I'm all fired up because my Miners out in El Paso, the UTEP Miners, just finally got off the schneid. 4 picks, 148-yard rusher. Boys, we actually looked like we knew what we were doing tonight. So happy to see Coach Walden, Coach Clark, all those kids out there put some stuff together, put a full game on, put a full game together, and get the first one out of the way. So I know that we're not going to be anything that anybody's going to be worried about for a little while, but I'll actually take that. I'll take the fact that hopefully they'll never see us coming. You guys keep doing what you do. Love the show. Love listening to everybody call in every week. I've got a voice made for television, I'm afraid, and a face made for radio. But you boys be good. God bless the group of 5 guys that picks up.
Appreciate you, Tim.
Fired up for the Miners.
I
man.
am too. I like Walden. His energy's infectious. And Tim's son, he's a freshman linebacker on that team.
I was guessing that was who that was. I mean, I know he said Tim, but a great call.
And I just love El Paso. I've only been there once and got to catch a game, but stadium's awesome. Town is really, really cool. One of the best steaks I've ever had in my entire life. I got to get back out there.
Jeff, we have to get some type of a sponsored group of 5 tour and literally hit. I mean, it really wouldn't even take long.
Maybe a springtime tour is the play.
Yeah, you really could go if you went out that way. You could hit everything. You know, El Paso is a little bit different. It's out there kind of by itself, but it's kind of by like Las Cruces, no? So you could hit New Mexico State, and you could. Yeah, but anyway, appreciate that call.
We'll get out there. Who knows? Maybe sooner than you think. All right, let's get to our last one, boys. Terry J is back.
Oh no.
Steeple. What's good, baby? I didn't want to get involved in this, back and forth with you, but hey, talk. You want to run your mouth? Let's get to it. The Cajuns are coming to that bitch ass, weak ass, ugly ass field of yours. We're gonna take you to the fucking woodshed. All right. There's two games we had to win this year. Sorry, 3 games. Tulane, ULM, and COVID Carolina. We're 0-1. We're 0-1. I've been a very pessimistic fan this year. Very pessimistic. And I wasn't gonna say anything, but you set me off, Steeple. You set me off. All right? And you insult Louisiana hot sauce? How dare you? We coming. We coming too, all right? You can't run from this like 4 years ago, Steeple. Y'all can't run anymore. Got to face this head on. All right? It's going to be a fun game, for real. It's going to be a fun game. ESPNU, you're going to be ready. You're going to be drinking some Crown. Pretty sure you're going to be drinking some Yuengling Flights, and I'm actually very excited about it. For real. I'm very excited. Sorry, side note, this is a break to a question I got for the group of 5 guys. When Boise joins the Pac-12, and like all those other teams join the Pac-12 or Pac whatever, right? Like I feel like the media is gonna spin that as a power conference. Do we keep Boise, San Diego State, Utah State? Do we keep them in the group of 5? Because I feel like they will try to separate from the group of 5. Like Boise fans will not want to be associated with the group of 5 name. And so in that case, do you even keep them involved? I just need your opinion on it. Because I feel like in 2026, when they officially Pac, whatever Mountain West split, it's just going to be, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be. They're not going to want to associate with the Group of 5 name, and they're going to think they're a power conference. Anyway, that's all I got. Steeple, we ready. I'll be on Twitter. I won't run from anything. You talk shit, I'll be there. But we ready. Let's fucking go.
Appreciate you, Terry. To answer your question as quickly as I can, we're going to just have to see how it shakes out, because I don't think the media is going to refer to them as a Power 4 conference anymore. I really don't. As much as they're not going to want to have the Group of 5 moniker, and honestly, guys, it's just a term. Like, why we push it so much is to kind of like show that it literally is just a word, and all these teams can play each other regardless of what conference they're in. And we just got to decide that. I think we'll still cover them.
Yeah, I think the main, as far as like what's like technical, I don't think they're going to be considered a Power 4. And like you said a couple callers ago, Jeff, I think at some point it's going to be the Power 2.
Yeah.
And everybody else. So we might, these Big 12 and ACC folks, you might want to get ready. You have to start getting some callers from there calling in, but I don't know. We've gone back and forth. We kind of, Jeff and I have these conversations all the time about what do we do if the Group of 5 separates altogether. If there's a lot of what ifs. That's why I think I tweeted about it. Somebody, a Boise fan, asked that, and I said, "I don't know, buddy. Ask me in 2026 when it happens." I mean, jeez,
I barely know what I'm doing this afternoon with my kids.
I got to look at my calendar to see what my first assignment is for the day. Yeah. So I don't know. I hope so, man. I think there's some schools, even in the Group of 5 now, like that don't like the Group of 5 term. They don't like being considered this and that. And then I think there's also some teams that are currently in the quote unquote Power 4 that, as far as fan base goes and as far as the struggles they have and challenges they have, are more similar to, what we're talking about with Group of 5 as far as fans go, alumni and support and those things. So we look at it all the time, but I don't know. Right now, Theory, I'm just focused on the Cajuns versus the COVID Carolina Chanticleers, as you called them. I told you, Jeff, this is a redemption game for the Cajuns. They still think about that.
That's wild that the Chanticleers have been living rent free.
Oh no!
For a bit. I might change my pick.
Remember who I picked?
I might change my pick. Ethan Vasco, 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's it for the voicemails.
That's it. Well, great call, Terry. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for calling. Keep calling. It's 615-900-4286. We got a great weekend of football starting at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time tonight in the Mountain West with Fresno State and Nevada. Should be a good one. And then we got a great slate of games on Saturday. Make sure you check out that Jamie Chadwell interview we did last night. It's up on YouTube. We will post it on the socials here in a little while. Hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure, if you're on the YouTube, go up there and click that like button. Leave a comment. Appreciate everybody in the live chat. Make sure you follow us on all the socials at Group of 5 Guys, and subscribe to the channel, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your best podcasts. Or weather's getting cold, go ahead and go to group5guys.com. Get you a Group of 5 Guys hoodie. Get yourself ready for these late October, November, and possibly December, January games for some of you out there. That's all we got. I hope you have a great Friday. Have a great weekend.